Good day. In this video, I'm going to present you with a dead simple approach to know if you're susceptible of rambling in job interviews, and this directly correlates with your star answers. Okay, it's something that indicates that basically you need a bit more work in your answers, and something that AI will never be able to advise you, at least to my knowledge, when providing you feedback on your answers, right? It's something that I actually noticed that around 80% of the stories on my website have this issue, have this challenge, and it's regardless of if you're applying for a director level or for a software engineer type of role, right? So when thinking of the STAR format, situation, task, action, and result, most candidates would allocate time to talk about the situation, then allocate time to talk about the task, then about the action, the result. The problem with this approach, in my experience, is that you will allocate too much time speaking about the situation and then the task when compared to focusing on the action and the result. Okay, so basically what I'm suggesting you here is to combine the situation and task into one. Okay, in order to expedite a little bit the communication, avoid rambling in the beginning, and focus on what matters the most. Okay, it looks like a very simple thing to do, yet again, 80% of people that I track story banks have this challenge, right? And that's when it comes, when you speak a bit much about the introduction, then when you become susceptible of rambling and about getting your answers too long for the purpose of a job interview, in a context where I advise people to have long, convincing first answers, so long they focus on the right stuff, right? Now, how do I know this is such a big problem? Well, I know it because I track this with people that I both coach and users of my training program, but also, more interestingly for you, probably something that will convince you, you've probably seen this before. I share it regularly in my videos. This is the STAR worksheet. This is basically how interviewers evaluate your STAR answers in one of the biggest companies in the world, that is Amazon. They pioneered these things. And if you look the way they evaluate your STAR answers, they evaluate the situation and task combined. Okay, so it makes little sense for you to build your stories so structured around situation and then the task, but rather my advice would be to combine them, because this would prevent you from rambling and focusing how to best sell yourself in a job interview, right? A notable exception here, when you'd want to insist a little bit on situation, is where context is really important. When you feel like the people that you're speaking to will not understand what you're telling them unless you spend a bit of time explaining the context and the challenges you faced. So for example, when I coach someone who's a director in some, in the medical space, they must, explain to me a bit better these things, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to understand what they're saying. So that's why they were focused on the situation and eventually also the task. But in a live setting, you will almost always focus on not overspending time in the beginning of your answer, because your most valuable employment of time would be towards the end, right? And this is how interviewers evaluate your answers. And again, I've been looking about on the story banks I have on my website and people who are successful in their jobs, and some of them had this issue early on, before we did coaching, before they did their final revisions, right? So long story short, if you did not combine the situation and task, or the situation and challenge, if you want, into one, then you will need an extra revision. There is work to do there. There is a lot of benefit for you as a candidate if you do so. So I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.